I got to do something I've never done before, which was sculpting, and not just on its own, but on plastic bottles. I dealt with sandpaper, I mixed a bunch of my own colors. I kept going back because the paint was chipping, and I even broke an ear on one of the animals. There were lots of struggles and successes, so watch the rest of the video to see the process and the final projects. Hello, hello. My name is Lashe from LaseCREATES and welcome back to the channel. We will start off with the first animal, which is a koala. For the koala, I started by shaping the head around the bottle cap. I originally wanted both bottles to open and close, so maybe you could store things inside. I don't know what I would keep inside, but I thought I would be able to store things inside. But as I was sculpting, my fingers kept shaping the head whenever I tried to open the bottle. So I eventually gave up on that idea and decided to get rid of the bottle cap and just seal the bottles. When I finally got the head on the bottle, I added a big nose. And for these, I wasn't trying to make or sculpt anything in a realistic way. I knew it was going to end up kind of like a cartoon because I'm not that good at sculpting. So I just try to do the best I can and follow the references, at least so it looks kind of like those animals anyway. So I added a big nose, then I added the eyes, which later became eyebrows. I added the ears, and I also decided to make the ears a bit furry by just using the wooden knife to draw lines on it. I started sculpting the arms and legs around the bottle. Also, from all the references I was using, koalas seem to be on trees a lot. So I added tree bark so it looks like the koala is on a tree.
The next day.
In this frame, you can see I added a cake. I don't know if you can tell if it's a cupcake, but I will get to why I did that and the story later in the video. The next day, after the koala had dried, I decided to cover the entire bottle with clay because I realized the bottle wasn't smooth. There were a lot of lines and dents in the bottle. Also, I thought that maybe having clay at the bottom of the koala as a base, for both of them, of course, as a base, will help them stand better. So next, I started sculpting. I started sculpting the giraffe, and then I added the not sure what to call these circles at the side, or maybe cheekbones. And for this one, I was really worried about the weight because now this plastic is very tall and light, but it actually ended up standing okay. Then I added a smile to the giraffe, and I added the horns as well. The horns were going to be long like the references, but they weren't standing correctly, so I eventually just made them shorter. And I later add texture to those as well to make it furry. Then I added the ears and the mane, I think. The line that goes at the top of the head. I think it goes along the back as well, but I didn't realize that. So there's no mane at the back. I added the nose as well. I also drew a line across the face, two lines across the face for the eyes, but they ended up being a different shape anyway. Then I sculpted the tail onto the bottle, and it was originally going to bend, but I didn't want to paint the space between the plastic and the clay. So I knew it wasn't going to be easy if I did it that way. So I decided to just make it flat, and it still ended up looking nice. So I think that was okay. After adding the tail, I will add the clay to the bottom to make it stand. Then I'm done with both the koala and the giraffe, and these will take a couple of days to dry.
3 days later.
After a couple of days, when the clay is dry on both animals, I use sandpaper to start to smooth out the ceramics to get rid of any bumps. And as the clay was drying, I noticed cracks in the clay. So I bought puffy paint to seal the larger cracks. For the smaller ones, I just used the sandpaper to get rid of it. Because as the sandpaper was smoothing the clay, was also getting rid of some of the cracks, the smaller ones at least. So for the koala, I used puffy paint to seal the cracks all around the body, and for the giraffe, I used the sandpaper to smooth out all the dry clay that was all over the plastic, all the little bits and pieces of clay on the plastic, and I used puffy paint to seal the cracks around the neck as well. And once the puffy paint was dry, it was time to finally start painting.
Nice.
So now it's finally time to start painting. So here I am mixing the first color for my koala, which is a very dark pink. It ended up looking just a bit red on the koala, but anyway, the first color for my koala is pink. You may be wondering why my koala is pink. Well, let me introduce you to Kingston kind koala. So, the story here is Kingston comes from a rare species of pink koalas.
Okay.
And since koalas are normally gray, Kingston gets bullied at school. So that means Kingston has only one friend, which is Greta the giraffe, who will later be in this video. And Greta is the one that gave him this cupcake, which he's now obsessed with and holds dear to him. But yeah, Greta the giraffe and cupcakes make him happy and feel less alone. And my koala is pink because he's from a rare species. It's not really a serious story. I just didn't want to paint a gray koala. So my koala is pink and he's from a rare species. And he was bullied, but he has a friend and cupcakes now. Yeah. So after I'm done with the first, well, with both coats of paint, I'm getting my pencil and I'm sketching the inner area of the koala. I'm going to mix a lighter pink for that, and I will paint the inner area as well. The paint I'm using is rather transparent on its own, so it needs multiple coats. Even if it wasn't transparent, I think it would still need multiple coats anyway. Then I used my palette to mix and paint on the colors for the nose, the branch, and the cupcake. But the cupcake will later change color. I really struggled with the cupcake. I wasn't sure what color to make it, but I eventually decided what color to make it later. So here you can see I made the cupcake frosting a bit like a purplish red, like maroon or something. I made the cupcake tin blue. I painted over it, I made it white again, and I painted the cupcake tin red. And I changed the frosting to be a bit of a lighter pink. After that, I painted the inner ears and I started to sketch the eyes. I just made them round circles, and yeah, they're just round circles, round dots. For the branch, I came back the next day and paint that I mixed originally had dried, so I decided to use the brown straight from the tube. This is why I don't like painting on the palette, just in case I needed it again. But also, I'm not really good at color matching, but yeah, I just had to deal with that. For the eyes, I got acrylic paint markers and I traced around the eyes with the black marker. Drawing on the ceramics were a bit difficult, so my hands were shaking a bit, but I was able to draw the eyes and paint them black and shade them in. And then I used the white acrylic marker to add the highlights inside the eyes. But the white acrylic marker was a bit, it wasn't bold enough, so I had to use white paint instead. And now you can see that I finally decided on what the cupcake should be. I repainted this cupcake a lot of times, but I decided to make it a watermelon. I don't know if you can tell if it's a watermelon, though my sister thinks it's a strawberry, so let me know what you guys think it is in the comments, please. I used Mod Podge, or what I have is Decoupage, Decoupage medium. So this will keep my paint from chipping like I was doing earlier. Here are the results of the final sculpture. I really like it. Let me know what you guys think as well. So appearing with Kingston today is Greta the graceful giraffe. So here I'm mixing colors. The main body is just going to be this simple mustard yellow, like a giraffe, although giraffes are a bit white and brown and yellow. So yeah, this is going to be some normal colors. So the story with Greta is she was named Greta the graceful giraffe, but she is clumsy, which is the ironic part.
Okay.
She is known to be a great baker, and her cakes are always neat and, well, graceful.
What?
But she herself is not neat, and she's actually rather clumsy, and she always makes a huge mess in the kitchen all the time. So one day she found Kingston by himself and she gave him a cupcake. And that kind gesture made them best friends till today. So now they are appearing side by side. They are a pair and they are best friends. And yeah, this was the moment I realized that I have to draw the individual patches on the giraffe. So really up until this point that you're seeing in the video, I didn't think about it like at all. And it's funny, like I don't know how that skipped my mind, but I didn't think about how I was going to do the patches. And so I realized I have to do them individually. And I had some regrets about this moment by choosing the giraffe. And each patch needs about 3 coats of paint. I started the giraffe already, so I'm going to push through and it will be all right. So when I was done sketching, I mixed another color, a bit darker brown color for the patches, and I started to paint each of them individually. I painted bigger patches on the body and I painted smaller patches going all the way to the face as well. was painting one of the patches. I think I was resting my hand on it too hard. So I actually broke the ear. It didn't break off completely. So I didn't have any glue, but I decided to use puffy paint as an alternative. So after a couple days and hours of painting, I am finally done with every single one of these patches. 3 coats each of paint, and I am now done with these patches. So now I can move on to something else. So first I fixed the area where I broke the ear, just painted yellow on top of it and fixed the patches that were nearby the incident. Then I painted the inner ear the same light pink color that I did on the koala. Next, I mixed a kind of grayish brown for the tail. I wanted it to be more brown, but I think it ended up drying gray. Yeah, it was more gray than brown, but that's okay. I used that color for the tail. Next, I had to make the frosting colors because this is when I realized that the storage container I got wasn't airtight because I did put small bits of paint from the frosting or from the cupcake of the koala into the container to keep it. Because they were small, I guess they dried faster than the larger amounts of paint that I had put there. Next, I mixed a bit of lighter brown with the yellow from the body. While looking at the references, I noticed the mane area and the horns were a bit more brown. So I wanted to add some sort of gradient from brown to yellow. So tried to blend those colors around those areas. It was challenging, but it turned out quite nice. I actually really liked how the gradient turned out in the end. Next, I drew the eyes. For her, I decided it would be easier if her eyes were closed. So I drew the first eye, and that was good. Then the second eye had a bit of bumpiness to it, so I had to paint over that and start again. But yeah, when I did it the second time, it ended up being better. But finally, after touch ups of paint in a couple of areas, I finally sealed it with decoupage, well, Mod Podge. So my paint wouldn't chip as well, wouldn't peel off, and to give it the nice glossy finish like the koala. So yeah, here is the final giraffe. I actually think this turned out better than the koala, but let me know what you guys think. Now the video is done. I had a lot of fun doing this video with the sculpting and the painting. So yeah, let me know which animal is your favorite. If you came back, thank you for coming back. If you are new here, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching till the end. And hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!